What's up, my fellow harmonic traders? Welcome back to Track the Harmonic, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of harmonic technical analysis. I'm your host, Lord MC, and I'm good to have you join us once again for another exciting week in the stock market. In today's video, we'll be taking a closer look at the key factors that could influence the market in the upcoming week. With the release of some of these crucial economic indicators like the GDP and PCE, it's bound to definitely bring back some of that volatility, as this current week we just had was a very short week with relatively low volume. So the GDP, or the gross domestic product, acts as a barometer for the overall health of the economy. So we'll analyze its implications on various sectors in the market as that data comes out. Additionally, we will also be taking a closer look at monitoring the PCE, which is a vital indicator that gauges consumer spending habits. So this data offers valuable insights into consumer behavior, which can have a significant impact in the markets. We also have jobless claims this week, as well as the Fed speaker, Jerome Powell, also talking during this week. So if you're new to harmonic technical analysis, this channel is all about breaking down these complex patterns into an easy, understandable insights. So I'll try to provide you with tools and knowledge to make informed trading decisions and navigate the ever-changing stock market landscape. Having said that, I just also want to preface before I get into the charts that I'm not a financial advisor. Anything I say in my videos or anywhere else is never financial advice, so question everything, do your own research, and come out with your own conclusions. So having said that, if you like this type of content, hit that subscribe button and join our ever-growing community of traders as we dive deep into the world of harmonic technical analysis. So let's get to the chart. So SPY here on the daily on Friday went as high as 435.06. The low was 432.47, closing the day at $433.21. So what can we expect here off of Friday's close? On Friday's close, we're obviously in a short downtrend right now, maybe creating that lower low. And what looks to be right now in this Friday's close, a inverted hammer candle on a downtrend, which could potentially signal a reversal is coming back up here to create a higher high. Harmonically speaking, here we do have this deep crab, this bearish deep crab, where you did come and lose XA here. So 1, 2, slightly just close above here. We'll just count it as 3 candles below XA, which could potentially mean that it could come back down to that 21 EMA here at 430 and then complete the type 1 reaction to target 1 at 419.74. But with Friday's close, with high volume, then Thursday's volume, you have this inverted hammer candle on a downtrend, which could signal a potential reversal. If you're able to hold off above the 13 EMA here around 433.21 or whatever this is right here, the next level I'd be looking to get back above is XA here at 436.31, in which case if you're able to close above that, you're more likely to come here and finish that gap at 438 and change, and then maybe go on its way up to hop at 451.17. You had a bit of resistance here around 443. You touched it a couple times and you got rejected. We can't ignore also the HSI. The HSI actually gave us the indicator here. The HSI arrow gave us an indicator within the harmonic pattern that you were going to come down, and that's exactly what it did here. So right now you could start, maybe the volume could start to pick up as next week. You could potentially bounce off the 13 EMA and continue its trajectory back up to that type 2 return to hop at 451.17. And then I have another target here at 54.69. Should you fail to close above the 13 EMA, you potentially come back down to 430 with the 21 EMAs to fill this gap and then go to target 1 at 419.74. It's interesting now that this line here, this yellow line that we have here, is that trend line that was drawn from the 2009 lows. So you could come back where that gap fill is during this week and potentially bounce off of this line and continue as well. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye out on that. Off of the weekly close, you did have an inside bar here for SPY on the weekly, which could mean continuation to the upside. You did generate an HSI arrow, but it was on a short week with low volume, as the HSI indicator was a bit overextended here, and you could potentially come back down should this start picking some volume to the downside. But because of this this inside bar here, I'm more inclined to say that there's potential upside more now after this inside bar here, and then as well as a inverted hammer candle on the daily, so on a downtrend. So that can mean just a potential reversal to the upside is coming. So harmonically speaking here, 454.69 would be the 786 retracement of this pattern. So if it decides to hold above target 2, that's where you will, like in quotations, put that target 3 there. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on the SPY here. Jumping over to the triple Qs, go to the daily here. So the triple Qs, just like SPY, came and tested the 13 EMA on a downtrend with an inverted hammer candle and closed just above hop at 361.07. So this could also be continuation, or maybe a reversal is continuing back up here to test that 373 where you got rejected. So after that, I really don't have anything, because if you clear above 373 here for the triple Qs, I could see it go into 390s, 380s. I would have to draw some of these fib ratios here, but I definitely would be intrigued to see if it breaks above 372 here, this high at 372.85. Should you fail to hold the 13 EMA, you can come back down and test the 21 EMA at 355, and losing that would be very devastating here for the triple Qs, as you would come back all the way down to 337.20 and then possibly fill that gap at 332, then BC at 326, and then finish that type 1 reaction all the way down to target 1 at 306.43. So you were a bit overextended on the triple Qs right here, so this could also be a potential falling wedge, and the falling wedge is ultimately bullish, so you could be breaking up above this falling wedge potentially here this week. So we'll definitely have to see if this is going to come to fruition here. If you did break up to the upside, I'd be looking to test 375. What was this? 372.85. So on the weekly, we did also get an inside bar here. We have an alt bat pattern that was generated last week. So if you find support above here and you continue pushing on up, you have XA here at 387.11, and then hop would be at 403.57. After that, you will have the triple Qs at all-time highs. So this is very interesting with what the Qs has generated here harmonically. On the RSI, you're a bit overextended, same with the HSI and the AMP RSI, but you have yet to create or generate an HSI arrow or dot. So there could be more upside into this. Maybe you reset something until the data comes out. If the data comes out bullish, then you could definitely start looking to see if it goes above XA here and then hop. Otherwise, bad data, come back down maybe to finish that type 1 reaction on the weekly alt bat pattern, which is all the way at target 1 at 327.55, which would also fill this gap. So this is very interesting so far on the triple Qs. The Dow Jones, over here on the Dow Jones, we also have on the downtrend an indecision candle with the doji close on Friday, where you went as high as 338.19. The low was 336.22 before closing the day at 337.16. So what can we expect here? Usually, like all the other two indices here, the volume that came in on Friday off of these indecision or reversal candles was higher volume than the previous close. So that could potentially also signal that it is potentially starting to reverse, because we definitely want to see high volume on a reversal candle or an indecision candle. An indecision candle like doji, it's maybe lower average, but this was higher average than Thursday's close. So what can we expect here off of this bat pattern? You also had a black swan pattern here, but I'll be looking at the bat pattern here. What can we expect here? If you find support off of the 50, which it did here, the next level, if this indecision candle is going to tell us that the shift is reversing here, I'd be looking to see if the Dow Jones can reclaim 340.27, retest 348.309, and then break out of 345, as this the last two times that it tried to do that, it got rejected and you came down. So you break 345.35, you can go up to test that 347.56 on hop. If you don't find support off the 50, the next level to look at would be that 200 EMA on the daily, 332.17, type 1 reaction all the way down to target 1 at 330.96, and potentially here at 324.86. So the black swan pattern on my indicator here also had the same targets as the bat pattern, so you could come back down for that potential type 1 reaction again down to these levels. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on that, as the HSI though is a bit oversold, almost oversold. So you could start generating a potential reversal HSI arrow and HSI dot, which I'd be looking to see if that is the case. Maybe that push up will happen. If not, we can look at these target 1s and target 2 here for potential downside. If we jump over to the weekly, on the weekly you had a lower volume, obviously short week, so no harmonic pattern here. So you kind of you're looking like you're trading in a channel here and waiting for it. You actually have what looks like a inverse head and shoulders. Right here would be the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. So this would be at that neckline right now. So if you could break that, I'd be looking at to see if you break that 345.35 target, in which case we could see if it decides to go to that hop at 347. Above 347, sorry for the drawing there, above 347, I have 357. So we will definitely keep, there's also a gap back up there at 360, so we'll definitely keep an eye out on the Dow Jones. XLF is a new indice that I kind of want to cover here. I think it's important, and that is the financial sector here. So XLF here on the daily, you kind of have been trading in this channel here, or this, whatever you want to call it, channel, wave, whatever. It's just been in this trading range between target 1 here and around 31 and 33. You've been stuck here on Friday. You managed to close, you managed to test below the 50 SMA here. You went as low as 32.52. The high was 32.85 for closing the day at 32.74. So right now you do have a couple gap fills here for XLF. Should you not hold the 50 EMA, the 50 SMA here, you could look potentially to come back and fill the gap at 32.19. The second gap here at $31.06, and then terminal here, which is kind of hard to read here, but it's at 30.45. And then you have that hop level at 28.54. So the HSI right now is a bit oversold, so I'd be looking to see if there's any more volume going to pick up here with an HSI arrow, HSI dot, to confirm that it's potentially coming back up. So if it does find support and you get volume picking up to the upside, you'd be looking to fill the gap at 33.54, target 1 at 33.75, and then target 2 at 36.34 should it decide to go up there. I do think the banking sector is a little bit there's something going on, in my opinion, with the banking sector, that you're going to get a breakout in either the upside or the downside, but I think something is coming here for the banks. So on the weekly, you have a bear flag right here. So ultimately a bear flag is bearish, but on Friday or yesterday or this week's close, you had it on low volume, but just that's because of the short week. It's getting very tight here with my EMAs, so you're slightly just closing above the 200 EMA and below the 50, so you're getting very sandwiched in, and you could even see this on the Bollinger Bands as well. You have a breakout, could happen up all the way up over here at 36, or come down here to XI at 330. So we'll see. Daily, I think it looks a little bit tighter. Yeah, the daily looks a little bit tighter for a breakout. So if we jump back to the weekly chart here, if you're able to lose the 200 EMA here, and this bear flag pattern comes out to fruition in place of the downside, the next level I'd be looking at would be at 30.29, and then hop at 27.01. If you get a bullish breakout to the upside on the bear flag, you would look at 34.54 and then 37.27. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on this, as the HSI is also telling us that it potentially wants to come touch that midline. So this week, in my opinion, is going to be very important, or the next 2 weeks or so, whether XLF is going to, the financial sector is going to break out to the upside, because it's just been trading for a while between this range. So it's getting very tight here. So we will definitely keep an eye out on the banking sector, because the banks kind of are a little bit worrisome when they start to sell off. So jumping over to Apple here. So Apple on Friday went as high as 187.56, the low was 185.01 before closing the day at 186.68. It did generate a new all-time high there. So Apple is a bit overextended on the RSI. It's kind of flatlining, but it has done exactly what it's been doing this whole time, creating a channel upwards. So what can we expect here for Apple? I know I have a lot of drawings here, a lot of lines. We are obviously way past the 100% retracement of this previous harmonic bullish bat pattern. So the next level I'd have is that 188.73 and then 198.93, which is, I believe, is 127% retracement off of the previous all-time high to the 52-week lows. So that 198.93 would be my next target off of the fib ratios, but you have that psychological number where you could go to test that $200 range there. So off of the weekly, you do have this bullish bat pattern where you're just continuing to make higher highs week by week. You're overextended on the RSI, overextended on the HSI, and the AMP RSI. Still got some room over here, but you could potentially start to push up here to create that new all-time high there at 198, potentially the 127% retracement. Should you fail to break to the downside, I'd be looking to see if you lose 184.95 and then come and test here 182.94, fill the gap here at 175, come back down, fill the second gap here at 167, target 2 at 160.49. But the way Apple looks like it's pushing here, it is looking at a bit more upside than anything, as it just continues to create higher highs. So if anything, you may be able to reset some of the RSI here. Maybe you consolidate for the next push up. So definitely keep an eye out on Apple there. Jumping over to Microsoft here. So Microsoft also during this week created a new all-time high. The all-time high that it generated here was at 351.47. The previous all-time high, if I'm not mistaken, was over here at 349.67. So what can we expect here for Microsoft? Microsoft also has been riding the wave here. It has lost a 13 EMA, and on Friday you went as low as 333.45 before closing the day at 335.02. So that's slightly, if I'm not mistaken, a close above. We zoom in here, the 13 EMA. So you do have a downtrend hammer candle as well, which could potentially signal a reversal to the upside is coming. Or if not, if you fail to close above the 9 EMA, the next level would be looking at would be hop at 330.41, where the 21 EMA is at. Should you fail the 21 EMA here, you will potentially come back down and fill this gap all the way down to 316, and then losing that, that's where the 50 EMA and SMA are. You lose that and you come back down to 304.26, fill another gap here at where the 200 EMA is, just slightly below that at 281, and then finish that type 1 reaction down to 272.45. Too early to call that, but the next level I'd be looking here to see if you break up is reclaim the 90 EMA at 336, and then you have another shot attempting the all-time high there. So what can we expect there for Microsoft as a new all-time high? If we take the Fibonacci retracement from the previous all-time high to the 52-week lows, which was here, that 386.73 would be the next target there that I have, and then after that it's obviously 433.87. So there would be more of a psychological number there at 400 should Microsoft break above 386.73. So definitely keep an eye out on Microsoft. On the weekly, you had also an inside bar off low volume, so more continuation potentially here for Microsoft. So keep an eye on Microsoft. Jumping over to Amazon. So Amazon on Friday went as high as 130.84 before closing the day at 129.33. Amazon here has this bearish Gartley pattern where on Thursday you had a significantly higher volume than usual. So you had this consolidation period here and you broke out, right? Now you're trying to test to see if it's more continuation. So if you find support here and you continue pushing on up the next level, I'd be looking at here for Amazon would be $139.02 where hop is. If you fail to stay above here, next level would be looking at would be 126 and then 124. Just like everything else, a lot of things are trying to almost retest the 21 EMA. Should you fail to find support out the 21 EMA, it can get a very dumpy here real quick for Amazon at target 1, which would be at 109.22, and then possibly fill that gap and complete a type 1 reaction all the way to target 298.60. Otherwise, if not, if there's more upside, the next level to be looking at would be 139. The HSI looks like it wants to test the midline. If it crosses the midline, it definitely looks like it could go up to hop. If we go over to the weekly you have a bullish bat pattern where you're almost testing the 200 SMA here, which is around $132.61. So if you're able to close above that here for this upcoming week, the next level after 132.6 with the 200 SMA is at 132.55. Target 2 would be at 147.69 should you break up above hop there out on the daily at 139. So I'd be looking at 147.69 for the next to complete that type 1 reaction all the way to target 2. If you fail to close above the 200 SMA, the next level would be looking to the downside here for the weekly would be 122.39, and then maybe you come and do the type 2 return to hop, but too early to tell. The HSI is a bit overextended here, but you're not generating any HSI arrow or dot as the volume has not started to pick to the downside. So looks still like there might be some continuation still for Amazon. Jumping over to Tesla here. So Tesla during the week did go as high as almost 277. You got rejected there by a penny short, and then on Friday you came all the way down to test the low at 252.80 before closing the day at 256.60. You did generate an HSI dot with an indecision candle, as we refer these as a doji candle, on a downtrend, small downtrend, but either way that is a potential reversal candle. On the SMAs here on Friday, you did get that golden cross here for the SMAs, so we will definitely have to keep an eye out on Tesla to see if this is not a lagging indicator when it comes to the golden cross, because you had all this crazy push up here, then maybe there's more continuation, who knows. But if there is, the next level I'd be looking at for the upside for Tesla would be 272 and then 286, and then the harmonic target here at 295 for Tesla here, which could complete that type 1 reaction at target 2. Should you not be able to hold 253.80 here, the next level I'd be looking would be the gap, and that's exactly where the 21 EMA is, at around 235. So failing that, you come back down to the next level at 223.79, and after that you come down all the way down potentially to fill that gap to finish that type 2 return back to hop. Right now you were a bit overextended with Tesla, and what's interesting now here, even though this was extended, you came back down the HSI within the harmonic pattern here, you are at that oversold. So you could start to pick up an HSI arrow to the upside to see if there's more continuation on Tesla. So definitely keep an eye out on Tesla. Jumping over to Google. Google on the daily here for Friday did go as high as 129.79. The low was 121.06 before closing the day at 122.34. So Google is very interesting because this is one of the first out of the blue chips that actually came and lost the 21 EMA here on the daily, and you were able to reclaim it off of BC here at 118.98, and you managed to close above the 21 EMA, but closed just below ABCD here at 122.55. So if Google is able to maintain and hold support off that level, the next level I'd be looking up would be at 125.92, then that gap fill at 133, and potentially all the way up to hop at 138.18. Should you get rejected off of 122.55, look to test 118.98, because that's where you wick down of. Breaking that, you could come down to 117.05 and respectively for the SMA here at maybe 116.25, and then you could potentially fill this gap and complete that type 1 reaction at 111.58. Below that you have target 2 at $100.80. So on the weekly for Google, left on a hanging man. So this is also a reversal candle. On Google you have a crab pattern here, bullish crab pattern, where you did complete the type 1 reaction. You had 2 weeks in a row where you generated an HSI dot and an HSI arrow, potentially signaling that it wants to reverse. So it's holding up above here, the 9 EMA. Like I said, if you could break up on the weekly, stay and hold support at the 125.49, you could potentially see more further upside. The HSI on the weekly is looking like it wants to test that, at least that midline, which would be around the 9 EMA here at 119, 120-ish. Find support where you can continue back up. So that's all I have to say about Google. Jumping over to Meta. So Meta here on the daily, very bullish week for Meta, continuation to the upside with volume to support that push up here. So on Friday it did go as high as 289.67 before closing the day at 288.73. It has found support here off the 13 EMA. It's still overbought here, but I'd be looking to see if it fills that gap here at 317 for Meta. And we have no current harmonic pattern here. We can rely on this previous harmonic pattern. It's just past the 30 bars, but we could look at for a level of resistance here at 302.07 before it finishes that gap at 317. Should you are not able to hold the support here, the next level I'd be looking at would be that 21 EMA here around 271, and then maybe 251.26 here where the 50 EMA is, and then losing that you'd have that gap fill as well. So if we jump over to the weekly looks very strong still for continuation for Meta. What's interesting for Meta now, Meta has a potential golden cross approaching here for the weekly. So on the weekly you have that target 2 at 307.07, and then getting rejected there, you can come back to 251, and then maybe down the line go down to hop for that type 2 return. above 302, what can we expect? Like I said, that gap fill is next, 316. And then let's assume that it was going to be more continuation. Let's say you get that golden cross and more upside. What could be next here harmonically for Meta? You would be looking above 302, target 3 in quotations would be 338.25, 359.78, and then 384 would be the 100% retracement after that. So from the chart, it looks overextended right now, but you have the volume still is supports the move up. So definitely keep an eye out on Tesla. Jumping over to NVDA, or excuse me, this is Meta. Jumping over to NVIDIA here. NVIDIA on the daily on Friday went as high as 428.09. The low was 420.15 before closing the day at 422.09. So NVIDIA here is looking to have support here off the 9 EMA, which is at around 419.38. Should you lose that, you can come back down to test the 13 at 411 and then the 21 EMA. I'd be keeping an eye and attention on NVIDIA here for the 21 EMA. You break that and you have a pretty wild ride down all the way to potentially fill that gap at 306. Right now what's interesting for this is that it looks like it's possibly forming a head and shoulders pattern. You have the left shoulder here, the head is generating right now, so you could have a situation where you could be coming down here, finding support and doing this, and then you break right where that neckline, wherever the neckline would be. Too early to tell, but it looks like it's forming at least the head right now. So head would come back down, maybe to test that 21 EMA, bounce, and then come back up, and then see if there's any more downside. The HSI here, we have no current harmonic pattern. Well, we have this one, but we're clearly above here with strength. The HSI looks like it does want to come down to that oversold, and that would kind of, in my opinion, come down to that 13, maybe that 21 EMA. Off the weekly, we had a low volume, obviously, but it is a shooting star here on an uptrend. So I really don't know what to think of this weekly candle close because it is a short volume week. So if NVIDIA is starting to signal that a potential reversal is incoming here off of this shooting star close on an uptrend, you could be looking at this bat pattern here that I generated on the weekly. Should you lose this key level here at 411.30, come down here all the way to hop at 315, and then maybe a type 2 return all the way down to 173.78, which I doubt, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I don't know if it goes below $100, but $173, but there is those harmonic levels there for NVIDIA. And the last one that I wanted to cover here is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, let me go over to my crypto layout here. So Bitcoin did break out this week to the upside above 30,000, right? We had now a shark pattern generated here for Bitcoin where you were overextended over the weekend, and you're now generating an HSI arrow to the downside potentially. Should you pick up volume to the downside, the next level I'd be looking at would be 29.5 and then all the way down to 28.1 to complete that type 1 reaction. The HSI was a bit overextended, that's why you got the HSI arrow. So if you come back down to that over, maybe even the midline, I do believe that'll hit that target 1 at 28.1. All the way down to that oversold region with the HSI, could take it back down to 25.5. You could come back down just to target 1 and then continue back its trajectory up to that type 2 return all the way to hop. So if you find support off of OB here, which is at 30.2K, the next level we'll be looking at will be 30.8K and then 31,800. So almost 32,000 on Bitcoin. So definitely was finally you got that breakout finally during this wedge here, and you got it with volume. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on Bitcoin to see there's more continuation. I do think there's a potential harmonic pattern on the 3-day. Yeah, so this is what I'd be looking at if you break above the daily hop, which would be at 31.8K. The next level I'd be looking at would be 32K and then target 1 at 37K. So this could get very bullish here for Bitcoin in this upcoming week. And then after that, you got obviously 49K, call it 50. So definitely keep an eye out on crypto. That's all I have for you guys. I will be streaming same time as always, 15 minutes before the bell tomorrow. So if you want to catch me going live. Twitch, the link to my Twitch is in the description box below. So hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody, and peace.